What is up? We'll give everybody a few minutes to get logged in. Wait for LinkedIn to start streaming it live.
Got to catch up, LinkedIn.
It is now popping up. It's on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So there is a little bit of a delay.
Okay.
So we'll give everybody a few minutes to kind of jump
hello.
right in. We have awesome Alex with us. We have Trent. We have April. This is definitely going to be an exciting session. We are going to absolutely rock for the next hour. So we'll give it 3 minutes before we get started.
No pressure, right? No pressure.
Oh, you said start rocking, so my head starts going.
Yeah.
I think
he's already got a song in his head.
Yeah. I have a feeling we can all chat AI for hours. So.
Oh, God, yes.
It will fly by.
Definitely will. This is definitely the hot topic everyone's talking about. So excited to dive in with everyone.
Yeah, I did a training earlier today with another company, just getting them introduced to Gen AI. And then I forgot, for some reason, I thought this was next Friday. And then I looked, I was like, oh, today is AI. Yay.
Well, I'm just happy, Trent, you volunteered to take all the hard questions. So Alex and I are just going to.
I told both of you I am here for just looks, and occasional commentary.
You're the pretty one.
All right, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. I'm super excited about this. One of the biggest reasons why I'm excited is because, if you look back on recruiting, and many of us know recruiters that used to use the fax machine, they used to use the phone book to make all their business, and as everything evolved, recruiters had to evolve too. And AI is really just pushing that evolution for recruiters farther and farther and farther. So it's going to be so exciting what's going to happen. But first of all, I just want to welcome everybody to these amazing speakers. April Toms, who is the TA director of, and then we have Alex Papa George, who is with he's the CEO of Super Recruiters. And then we have Trent Cotton, first of all, he's also written multiple books. So definitely check him out and follow him. On top of that, he is the talent acquisition lead for Hatchworks and is doing all sorts of amazing things when it comes to the recruiting community. But the reason why I'm so excited about bringing these three people together is because they are actively using artificial intelligence in ways that many of us are not. And what's cool is they're gonna help you bridge that gap, so that way you guys can also become, in Alex's sense, a super recruiter or an AI powered recruiter. So just excited about this. So quick round robin as we get started for each of you guys, and we'll start with April. What does AI actually mean to you?
Man, it's revolutionizing everything that I'm working on. I'm excited to show custom GPTs today, along with Alex, and what we're building and how we're using it. But things are so fast now. Just all the automation that we can use is significantly just writing job descriptions, right? I mean, that's such a simple thing, but it saves hours of time. And our hiring managers love it because now we can take that burden off of them. So there's just so much, and I'm super excited to start talking about this with all you.
And Alex, what does AI mean to you?
It's a question I get often there, Ben, and it's excited to be here with everybody. Got an awesome panel. Trent, April, Ben, thanks for joining on this Friday. And to answer your question, Ben, to me, AI, to sum it up relatively quickly, is to streamline processes and automate workflows. That is what I consider artificial intelligence, and internally at Super Recruiter, that's how we leverage the platform today. Now, that is just saying that is today. I'm excited to see where the future goes, but for right now, that's how we use it.
And before I ask Trent, if you are watching this live, comment live in the notes. That way we can also see who else is live. And so that way we can also answer some questions as we go along. So Trent, what does AI mean to you?
AI enables me to be lazy, but look efficient and professional, if I'm giving the honest answer. But I always use the kind of the analogy, superhero. Alex, you took my thunder. I was going to be the only superhero talking one, but you've even got the emoji. But I always use Tony Stark, or Iron Man as an example. He's a badass all by himself, multi-billionaire, political, very smart, sexy, funny. I mean, he is just everything that you would ever want to be. He goes from being a badass to a superhero whenever he adds on that Iron Man suit, which is AI powered, right? So I don't necessarily look at it as artificial intelligence. I look at it as augmented intelligence. And that's how I view it in recruiting. Where can we put it in to where the recruiters can actually spend more time with the human side of recruiting, which I think we've gotten very far away from over the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely awesome and powerful. And the next question. So it's easy to stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Why did you guys decide to go all in with artificial intelligence? April.
I think when ChatGPT was first released, I was just simply amazed that I am non-technical. I've done technical recruiting for 25 years, but I don't know anything about doing coding or design, making graphics or any of this. And then so when I started playing with GPT when it came out, I realized I can do some super cool things. So the more I got into it, trying to learn how to do some simple things within my personal and professional life. I mean, I'm obsessed. I signed up for millions of Udemy trainings and all different types of classes, every webinar, just like my work people tell me I'm obsessed. Like I'm in all the Dallas Fort Worth networking groups. I go to all the AI stuff. I'm meeting all the leaders in the AI community. I'm just all in because I can do amazing things now that I was never able to do before.
And Alex, yourself.
The reason why we went into AI so hard was really kind of a couple of reasons, and the first reason is more dependent on your recruiting model. All of us have different models that we work under. Some do RPOs. We do fractional recruiting. Other people do direct hire recruiting. So when we looked at artificial intelligence, there were really two reasons. One was reducing our operational cost. We saw a lot of ways to streamline the process that typically would take manual labor and is time intensive. But if we were able to define a solid process that could help us do that quicker, faster, and cheaper, that's exactly what we did, right? And the second reason behind that is, being an entrepreneur myself, I think artificial intelligence has really leveled the playing field from big corps to actually smaller businesses. There's a lot of dollars that larger organizations have that just small businesses don't. But when we started incorporating things like Optus Plus and MetaView, those are really game changers for us that allow us to play with some of the big boys.
And yourself, Trent?
It's funny, Alex, that I think who was it that just released an article today? EY, Ernest Young. I subscribe to their 5 AI reads for every Friday. And one of the first things first topic is how AI will help flatten org structures, starting with management, not with the lower ranks. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I've always loved AI. I've been fascinated. I was a sci-fi kid. So, the fact that I'm actually living in the world where AI is becoming real is kind of a dream. But believe it or not, whenever ChatGPT came out, I had this idea that it was just for developers. I had no idea that there was something that I could actually leverage until someone on my team, Manny, in our 101 was showing me, and I was like, hey, wait, it can do that? And so I signed up, and I think I lost an entire weekend just chasing. I was in my office and just like, well, can it do this? Can it do that? Can it do this? And I was thinking of all these use cases and testing it. So for me, I look at it as, what can I automate? What can I do with data analysis? So I'm not spending time on the grunt work. I'm spending time on the value add, because we are all limited on time, focus, and resources. And for me, that's where AI can come in and really increase the level and the value that we can bring as talent professionals.
That is awesome. And one of the things that I'm like super excited about you guys sharing is, a lot of us are using artificial intelligence tools like MetaView, Better Leap, you name it, ChatGPT. But you guys have taken things like the next step. Some of you guys have actually built your own custom GPTs. And don't laugh. I know some of you guys in the comments are like, this is going to be a piece of cake. For me, it feels so far away and so hard. So we're going to have you guys are going to be able to see like what Alex, April, and Trent are doing kind of like behind the scenes. So that way you guys can also create your own GPTs, work with your own AI, and really just like be a man. Alex, you stole the thunder again. Be a super recruiter. So Alex,
We should have renamed this something around superheroes. There's a theme that we've already got in the first 10 minutes of the call.
but so Alex, if you want to go ahead and get started on sharing some of the things that you've actually built as a recruiter.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to April's point, one of the coolest things about what ChatGPT is all about is that it really allows the non-engineer, the non-technical person to create an actual technical product, right? And when we start talking ChatGPT, it's just a breadth of knowledge that we don't have access to on a typical basis. And when we start to get more granular, chat has really enabled the daily user to create their own chatbots. And so to kind of walk, you through a chatbot that we use specifically on relatively a daily basis, I'd love to share my screen and show you something firsthand that honestly anyone can do, right? Myself and partner Mike, who's not on the call right now, we put our heads together one weekend and we really needed a way to automate a process that was holding us up at the top of funnel, right? So we created what was called the Boolean search string architect. And just to walk you through something here, I can say hello to it, and it's going to respond and say, how can I assist you today? And again, to kind of reiterate what this bot does is that it helps us understand a job description from a very high level, but also a granular level. It's able to produce what types of job titles we're looking for, what are the specifics of the role, and even actually give us generated Boolean strings to get us a little bit of a head start on the search. So as you can see right here, I kicked off the chatbot. And before going any further, I do want to reiterate, I am not an engineer. We do not have engineers on staff. This is something that each and every one of you who are watching this video right now can do. So, if it seems a little bit too much, it's not. It just requires a little bit of thought to what you want the bot to do, and we can make it happen. So as you see here today, it says, hey, how can I assist you? And please give me the job description. I pulled some job description off the internet for a data scientist. So if I just click enter here, what the bot's going to go ahead and do is it's going to read the entire job description and tell us what the necessities are. And obviously, since it's recording, there is a little bit of a hiccup right here. That would happen. But as you'll start to see, it starts to produce the actual job because we wanted to have the job handy. But then it's going to get more granular into what we call a cheat sheet. And the cheat sheet is essentially what we use to go out and find candidates. So again, it's going to take a little bit of time to trigger here, but give it a little bit of time and you'll see kind of its value, and you'll see the cheat sheet pop up, as well as 5 additional job titles that this person may have. And you'll start to see the Boolean search string start to get put together. This specific job posting itself seems like it has a little bit of a healthcare background. And the coolest part about this bot that took a little bit tweaking is that the Boolean strings are relatively defined and refined and concise. Right. And these Boolean strings aren't necessarily the end all tell all, but they are a really good launching pad for someone who potentially is learning how to recruit or may not have the time to just generate Boolean search strings on their own. This is a little bit of a leg up on that entire process. So when I talk about, streamlining processes, automating workflows, this is typically what a normal recruiter would go through, and understanding a job rec, which is really identifying the industries, search strings they may put together, as well as some of the key terms. So I hope that was a nice little overview to kind of how you could use ChatGPT and custom bots on a daily basis. And again, one of the coolest parts that we're able to do as non-technical folks is really dive into this technical operation where we can really solve any problem we want to solve. So I hope that was cool. We have a couple other chatbots, but I do want to push pause and pass over the microphone to April, who I think wants to show you her own.
Okay. Are we good, Ben?
You are good.
Okay. Yeah, okay, share my screen. Thanks, Alex. Yours is cool. I keep meaning, I need to get yours added for me and go in and start playing around with it. Okay.
Absolutely. Anyone too. If you want the bot, happy to give it out. You know, April, Trent, Ben, or anybody watching this video,
Absolutely.
just reach out to me on LinkedIn and I'd be happy to show you.
All right. So it's up. Is it up for you guys?
Yep.
I was going to show a little bit more on like how to get started and how to set these up in case you're not aware. I was telling Ben, and he keeps telling me I'm wrong, that everybody already knows how to do this, and he says no, we don't. So go ahead and show how we do this, and it's super simple. Again, I'm not technical. These are all this looks funky because I have some kind of weird bookmark thing or folder organizer, and I have an outdated version. So I have two. First, you get here. Once you do have to have a paid account, $20 a month. I think it still is. I signed up paid the very day I got in. My GPT. So I'll go here, and then you'll see everything that you've built yourself. And then I have Recruiter Coach, which it's released to the public, so anybody can go on Recruiter Coach. And this one says, I set it up as an expert recruiter training and onboarding program with an emphasis on AI technology and AI responses, and a couple other things I'll show you. And then on recruiter onboarding, this is only for my internal team at Davis Technology Management. And since I've built this one, you can tell I haven't had as many chats. There's definitely more than 20, so it's not registering everything correctly. I haven't onboarded a new recruiter to try this out yet, but I'm excited about this one. I think I'm going to start with this one. Recruiter onboarding, a guide for new recruiters at Davis Technology Management, providing step-by-step onboarding instructions. So just show you how you get started. Where's the create? I can't even remember now. I think it's down here.
Go, yeah, there you go.
It's just and then it says you can create a new one. I wanted to show that part. Oh, here, duh, it's right there. Create a GPT. Okay. So that's how I got these set up. So let's just go to recruiter onboarding, and I'll show you some things here that could be useful for your internal teams instead of having like the paper manuals or the printouts, the glossies, even the soft copies, and just telling them to read a bunch of material, which I've always done in the past because that's all I knew to do. I fed this. So you go in, I'm going to do edit. And this is where you set it up. And you can set it up in two ways. You can create it by just talking to it and putting in, let's say I want to add something about, I've got so much in here already. I want to add something about closing the deal. And then it'll come back and it'll start asking me, this is regular, just underlying ChatGPT-4. It's going to ask me questions on how to do this. It says updating, so it's probably putting stuff in my custom instructions now.
While it's updating, like what kind of stuff did you feed the ChatGPT to create this customized GPT?
Yep. See, it didn't even ask me. Usually you can conversate with it and tell it your custom instructions, what you want it to do. I've updated information for closing deals. I actually had a lot of that in here. So for Ben, you go to the configure part. This is where you name it. This is where you give your little byline description. And then here you put in your instructions. So I can make this bigger. But this is a summary. So as I was building it out and I was giving it instructions from the side I just showed you, it's a lot. Like I typed in a lot of prompts, a lot of stuff to give custom instructions. And then I come over here and this is how it summarizes everything that I've told it to do. So it says the role and goal. This is how it summarized it. I didn't write this here. It's designed as an automated guide for new recruiters. It provides step-by-step instructions, starting with an overview. I'm not going to read all this. Table of contents, constraints, guidelines, and so forth. On my other one that's public facing, I'll show you some better examples. But for internal, this is where you go, Ben. So on this one, you can put in up to 20 of your own documents that you want it to learn and train from. I've tried to put in over 20 several times and it won't do it. If anybody knows how to do that, I'd be happy to hear. So our internal letterhead, our holiday schedules, the whole full recruiter manual, all this stuff I wrote, your day one itinerary, all this stuff is where it's pulling its information from. So I could continue to upload more of my own writings or anything you find as a useful resource, load it up here up to about 20. I want it to be able to create images, web browsing, code interpreter. That's just being able to analyze documents and stuff on the back end. So I'd leave all that checked. Additional settings, I don't ever look down here. I don't need all that.
So you pretty much, you gave it instructions and then you gave it a ton of documents that you are just utilizing on a daily basis, that were clunking around the office. So that way a new hire can literally just like type in what they need and it just pulls all the information from there and the internet to give the answers in, right?
That's right. So over here, the conversation starters, I don't know how many you can do. I only put 4 on this one and my public facing one because I want the 4 to stay right here. If you put a whole bunch, they're going to flip around and not flip, you know what I mean? They're going to randomize what's going to pop up, but I want specific ones to always be the top 4 people see. So over here is where we can play around with it. And this is where we can change and then save. This isn't what my new recruiter would see. So over here, see, I just added this. Can you explain the closing deal process? It put that in there for me. I'll show you, I'll walk through a quick example. So I have a table of contents and I was in it. Show me your, it's really good with abbreviations, by the way, regular GPT. Show me your table of content. So usually that should have been my first prompt on the screen. I think because I added that new instruction, it bumped it. So I need to go back and fix that. So I'm going to let this, then I think it finishes at 19. Then I'm going to show you something. So these are all things I fed it, all material I wrote. It learns your tone of voice. And while this is, oh, this isn't the one with 19. I can still show you something cool. Another thing to point out is I get asked sometimes, well, why don't I just use regular Chat GPT? Like, what's the point of setting up something custom? Well, internally, it kind of makes sense. But when I get to the one, my one that's public facing, you might say, well, why would I use your recruiter coach when I can just ask regular Chat GPT all the same questions? And answer to that is it knows specifically. You don't have to keep saying you're a recruiting expert and I need you to come up with specific information. Every time you go in that custom GPT, it knows who you are, your tone, your style, your background, and then you just start with your questions and it knows how to answer you based on your persona and your instructions that you set up. So that's super helpful and cool to not having always to write new prompts to get it going.
And Alex, and real quick, while that's loading, Alex, for your custom GPT, what kind of stuff did you load into that to be able to create the system that it's doing?
It's a good question. There is a little bit of tinkering that's required, and you kind of feel like a little bit of developer working in a syntax, right, which is actual lines of code, because sometimes when it doesn't get you the output that you're looking for, you got to dive back into it, right? You got to peel back the onion peel. You got to dive in and see like, hey, why are you producing that kind of output, right? So when we went through creating our chat bot, it wasn't just a first time and it looked awesome, right? It does require some back and forth with it. As April is saying, the reason why she puts that information in there is because it helps train the what's called the LLM, the large language model, a little bit more towards what you're looking for, because ChatGPT as a whole is just a giant breadth of knowledge, right? So sometimes we have to hone it in and actually tell it what to do. So kind of similarly to what April's saying, it is a little bit of a back and forth to figure out the exact output that you want. But as soon as you do it, it works fantastic.
I feel like Alex and Trent speak much more intellectually than I when it comes to explaining things and how we use them. I just get excited and talk really fast and want to show examples. I'll leave it
No,
to
this
you
is sweet.
to answer the hard stuff.
And examples are perfect. Like it's you're helping bridge the gap between a lot of people that just use ChatGPT, and you guys are helping like where they can take their own GPT to become an effective recruiter.
So I guess if I can pop in real quick and maybe even take a step back, right? You know, if we're watching this right now and we're thinking maybe in our heads like, hey, this is super cool, but I don't know if I can create my own custom bot, right? Like, I don't know if I have the wherewithal. I don't know if I can figure it out. First off, give it a try, right? Because we don't know anything until we give it a shot, right? The other way too that anyone can use this type of technology, and I don't know if I should be saying this because I don't know if I have clients on this call, but we do have an outsourced legal team, part of Super Recruiter, but its first line of defense is actually using ChatGPT for our legal agreements. When we get contracts from people, we have a bot that goes through and actually scours the agreements that's put in front of us. And we actually identify those types of sticking points and present actual red lines for those sticking points. And that is a way that anyone on this call can use ChatGPT today without creating their custom bot. And that's just one example.
That's awesome. And Trent, we're gonna move over to you a little bit of a different angle. You're as a TA leader and leading teams. How are you? First of all, what kind of AI are you using, and how do you get your teams to all level up with AI so that way they're all super recruiters?
So we actually fell into this practice. I mentioned earlier, Manny on my team is the culprit for getting me involved in ChatGPT. But I think that, you know, we have we recruit in sprints. We also have like our little retros and everything. So we use that time to really kind of evaluate, okay, what AI tool or process did we use that helped us be able to accomplish X% more this sprint over last sprint? And so that way, I find that whenever you're able to relate AI and the processes and the impact directly to a result, it tends to increase the adoption. So, you know, if I'm talking to a large group of recruiters in a room, probably 20% of them are going to be thinking, how can I do this? Like they're itching to get out of that. So that way they can go ahead and start doing it. The other 80% are like, I'll just wait. I think that going in and saying, okay, hey, recruiter, do you get tired of taking your notes, the technical interview notes, and then analyzing the job description to come up with a candidate profile that you can send over to the manager? And how long does that take you? 30 minutes. Okay. What if I could cut that down to less than 2 minutes? How many more candidates would you be able to screen, get through technical interview, and prepare the candidate profile and still look like just, again, that superhero badass recruiter without increasing your workload? Being able to go through those kinds of examples and show from the team, not me leading, the team is sharing this. So this is very grassroots. To me, the adoption is a lot easier that way. Because I mean, let's face it, a lot of times, you know, people trust their peers more than they trust their leaders. So, and I'm okay with that because I've learned a lot from my team, and I am humble enough to be able to say that.
For your team, and like what kind of AI tools have you been able to implement that your recruiters are utilizing outside of ChatGPT?
Oh, well, can I talk about one of my favorite GPTs that really helps us be lazy? So I built one that said, give me the job description so you can upload it as a PDF, or you can copy and paste, and it says, okay, tell me about your candidate. And so you upload the resume, upload the technical interview notes, or copy and paste and put in there. And then it basically comes in and it says, here's a candidate overview. Here are the top 5 ways that this candidate is most experienced and related to the specific job qualifications. And then it provides a summary. Easy peasy. And the thing that I love about it is that I created it so that way the team, all of us are uniform way presenting candidates to our clients. And essentially we're training our clients that they know that this is going to be the overhead. This is going to be, they don't care about all that touchy feely frilly stuff. They go right to how is the candidate experience related to the job that I have posted. So it accomplishes a huge goal. It took nothing to write. I'm not a very technical person. So that's one. We use HireEZ on the front end from a sourcing standpoint. I like that AI because I am not a technical person. In fact, getting back into tech was me overcoming a fear, because the one time I failed in recruiting, I was recruiting tech. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Still don't. It's just I have people on my team that do. But I can actually go into HireEZ and say, I'm looking for a data scientist. Okay, well, do you also want to look for this title? Do you also want to look for this title? It's giving me all of that stuff that I don't have to know what are all the different permutations of that job title. And then same thing for skills. It's going to start suggesting skills that I can just go and add to it. And then it builds out the search for me. And it also, gives me a temperature check of how more likely is this candidate to respond to me versus this one. So again, those types of tools, whenever recruiters actually get in there and they start using it and they immediately start seeing that pop, that's when they're going to adopt it a lot quicker. Just as a case in point, every recruiter loves LinkedIn Recruiter. And since we're on LinkedIn, I'm not going to bash LinkedIn, but I don't like LinkedIn. So we kind of did some A/B testing. Who's better, HireEZ or LinkedIn? And the thing that I love about HireEZ as well is it gives me the stats. I know where they clicked, how often they click, how many people open that email. So, putting our marketing hat on, that helps me be able to go, hey, this campaign worked a heck of a lot better than this one. And we spoke like Yoda. For some reason, our candidates like the Yoda voice. Let's do more Yoda voice. LinkedIn and some of the legacy platforms, they don't really give you that. So to me, it's just an enhancement on how can I be better, smarter, more efficient, more engaging, and more unique in a market that's got a lot of noise.
And real quick, before we jump on the next question, make sure to follow April, make sure to follow Alex, and make sure to follow Trent. They are definitely ahead of the game when it comes to utilizing AI. So you always want to keep track of what they're doing so you can follow along and do it also. So, and before we kind of do a little more show and tell, Alex and April, we'll start with Alex. What are some of the AI tools that you're utilizing outside of ChatGPT and the GPTs that you've built?
Good question. MetaView. If you're not using MetaView today, check it out. Holy smokes. It's one of the
100%.
coolest things I've seen. I like products that accomplish two things, and just two, right? Just one, two. Number one is they work, right? So checking that off the box, right? That's number one. Number two is that they solve a problem, right? Just one problem. I feel like a lot of products today, and this is in AI and this is in SaaS, and this is a little bit more of a higher level comment, but a lot of products try and do a lot of things really well without solving the core issue that they were really intended to build and solve for their users. So MetaView, for an example, is something we actually just implemented as of 2 weeks ago. Actually, a buddy, Nick, jumped in our Discord. If you are a recruiter and you do want to join a community, go ahead and join our Talentopia Discord. And he brought up MetaView. I didn't know what the heck it was, so I checked it out. And it's super awesome. It basically transcribes and records all the phone calls that we as recruiters have with our candidates. And when it transcribes the message, it actually goes ahead and packages the most important conversations and topic points from that call. And it organizes it in a very systematic, beautiful way that you can just basically take that snippet of your conversation, drop it inside of your email, and send it off to your client. So when we start talking about automating workflows and streamlining processes, this is a very manual tasks that recruiters do today. They're on one phone, and then the other hand, they're typing their notes, trying to keep up with the conversation. And, we all know that can get tricky, right? We're all people, we're all human, so sometimes we forget, right? With MetaView, everything's recorded, so you can always go back to that conversation. And even taking it one step further, they allow you to take little snippets of your conversation in case there's a 20 to 30 second, specific spot that you really want to highlight from the candidate with your client. And it allows you to embed inside your email. So when you click send, they're able to click go and hear right back from the client's mouth on how they responded to that question. So without a doubt, MetaView has been one of the coolest products within AI that I've seen because of the two reasons. Again, it works and it solves a big problem.
And two, if I can just jump in real quick, Ben, that's a perfect example. Think of 2 years ago or a year ago, before we started having products like this, It's let me take the notes, and I'm not actually engaging with April as a candidate. That's the first that's the first view that they have of our company, you know, and we're heads down. I mean, all you're going to see is my bald spot, right? So I think that if you have something like a meta view, you're engaging the human, but you're not sacrificing anything. You know, you're not sacrificing, oh, I need to write this down. Sorry, I just wanted to give Alex an amen.
No, I actually kind of piggyback, and then I'll let April speak. I think, Trent, the first thing that you said when we jumped on this stream was the fact that it allows you as a recruiter to spend more time with the human, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not worried about all this other stuff that's going on, right? Like you can just sit there and have a great conversation because you know everything's being recorded, and you can focus on, you know, that actual person. You know, we in recruiters, we're in an interesting place because I tell people all the time, you know, our product is people. You know, it's not a tissue box, you know, it's not paper towels, you know, it's got a brain, it's got emotions, it's got feelings. So the more that you can tap into that candidate on more of those personal levels, the more you're going to have candidate control throughout your process and ultimately deliver for your client.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
April?
Yeah, I would have said immediately the same too, but I'll add in addition, I would have said MetaView for sure. And then Trent and I talked about the Hire Easy. I'm not a paid endorser or sponsor, but I was so happy that I could completely cancel my LinkedIn because it's so expensive. Sorry,
Yes.
but and then just go full Hire Easy because it's got so much cool automation stuff in there for finding candidates and ranking and such. But then the other one I actually have on my page, one of the articles I had posted to SourceCon was sourcing strategies for small startups. And the point was intended to be free and very inexpensive tools. One of them on there is Canva, which I don't know, maybe a lot of people use.
Love
But
Canva.
yeah, Canva, I taught it myself. I mean, like you, Trent, spent a whole weekend just trapped in the house teaching myself Canva. And it's got a whole AI component. Magic Design Studio is what I think it's called. So all of our internal documents for like handbooks or any kind of marketing material, anything I want to hand out with company, you know, logoed information, all of that has a really cool AI component in Canva. So that'd be in my top 3 with the other 2 the guys mentioned.
If I can throw another one in for, it's kind of like a meta view for all of your other meetings. It's readassistant.ai. So for Hatchworks, whenever we're doing an interview, we always like to have one of the talent advisors on just to do a handoff, because I mean, just imagine you're a candidate, and the first time you're talking to the manager, there's no one that I know, you know, it's like an awkward first date. So, you know, we try to do a little bit of a handoff there. So I was supposed to be on one of my team members jumped in because I had a conflict, but my read assistant was still in. So it sends me a note, and it has this like really cool stuff. It shows engagement. It shows who spoke the most. It shows chapters, very much like MetaView. The thing that just really jumped out at me, and I didn't notice it until I went back after I got feedback from the client who said, the candidate was underwhelming. I said, okay, well, like not qualified. Well, you know, I just don't really feel like they were engaged. So curious mind, I went back and I looked at the read assistant thing and found out that the interviewer spoke 72% of the hour-long conversation. So in the meeting with the hiring manager, I said, where are you coming up with this? Because the person only spoke for 15 minutes out of the entire hour, according to data. He goes, what data? And I went right to it and I shared the screen. I said, this doesn't, there's got to be a 50-50, man. You know, I encourage you to go back and interview and actually listen more than you speak. Did it. Guy calls back and goes, oh my God, he's amazing. I said, imagine that's, you know, whenever a candidate's actually able to tell you about their experience. But, you know, before I would have to rely on a gut, you know, of working with that hiring manager and know that they're very verbose. They love to talk about themselves. Now I have data. And also too, for me, being able to go in as a coach and say, our average across the company, our average engagement on interviews is at 82 or 88%. Hiring manager, you're at 68 consistently. I've looked at some of the feedback. I've looked at some of the things in the reports. Here are some things that I want us to start trying to get your engagement score back up, because we're losing candidates there. That is mind blowing if you think about it a year ago. That's like, I can't wait for that day. Only a year, we've got that kind of technology. So again, that's another way that you can level up your talent strategy and not just be a transactional recruiter, but an actual recruiting consultant. Sorry, you got me.
Awesome.
You got me a little fired up on that one.
That's a great case study.
Some of my favorite AI tools, I'm a huge fan of Seekout. They do a good job like trying to use AI to figure out people that have security clearances, since I'm in the GovCon space. Better Leap is actually what?
How do you do that?
It based on a ton of data points. Like if you're working at, we'll say a Boeing, but you don't have like a TSSCI, but you seem to be working at a location that's close to Fort Meade or Chantilly, it's a high probability that you're working on a specialized program that has a high level security clearance. So it uses AI and ML for that. Another one I'm a fan of is Better Leap. They just introduced NLS, so natural language search. So perfect example. If you find me some engineers within a 50-mile radius of Google, and that's literally your search, it'll actually like use your natural language with the LI and the LLMs to start finding those candidates, and then they actually uses data points to personalize the message outreach to them. And then, so those are, I'd say the two that I've been playing with. I also do use SendSpark a little bit. I don't use their AI tool. They actually have an AI like video tool, but that is another thing. I think in the next, like, give it 6 months, I think AI video tools are going to be like the hot new thing. So those are the few things that I'm jumping in. But I got a question for each of you guys, and we'll do a round robin. Will AI replace the recruiter? And we'll start with you, Alex.
Ooh, put me on the spot. I'm going to go with no, Ben. AI is not going to replace a recruiter. I think that kind of similarly to what I just mentioned, this is a people business. And at the end of the day, you have to talk to a human being. And if you're not talking to a human being, there's a lot of unanswered questions that are going to go during the process and ultimately land up with a hiccup at the end of the day. I consider AI an enhancement tool, not a replacement. And I guess to kind of paint a picture for people watching, if I can describe a scenario and then I'll describe another scenario. So scenario one is how it's done today. And that is essentially, I like to use the gym analogy. I think we're all familiar with the gym, maybe some less than others, but I think we understand, what happens at a gym, right? We go inside, we start lifting weights, we walk around, we grab the weights off the rack, we bring them over here, we grab a cup of water, and there's a lot of kind of manual tasks in between what ultimately you're trying to do, which is get, strong, fit, and healthy, right? Which is actually lifting those weights. In scenario two with artificial intelligence and AI, I see it enhancing that gym experience where you walk in and maybe, you have creatine after your workout, or you have pre-workout before your workout. Imagine going to the bench press and all your plates are on the rack. So you're able to just start lifting weights. You're still going to have to put in the work. The work isn't just going to magically disappear, right? But it allows you to spend more time doing actually those productive actions to get you to where you want to be.
And April, we'll go ahead
when you create that gym that you just talked about, can you let me know? I want to go.
You'll be the first one I call, Trent.
I'll be the first, just to go and sit down and my plates are already done. And oh man, that'd be great.
We'll come down to Miami Beach and we'll show everybody what's up.
Done.
April, will AI replace the recruiter?
Not in my lifetime. I don't know how much life I have left. I'm a lot older than you guys. but no, and I think we hear the conversations are always there's always got to be we're a human centric industry. We need the empathy, we need the affect, the personality, the intelligent conversation. We still need human interaction within recruiting. You're not gonna who's gonna hire based off a robot's opinion on robotic answers and responses. So no, I'm not worried about it at all. I think the jobs are going to change for sure. Those that aren't keeping up with AI and learning tools, maybe they'll be extinct sooner rather than later. And then I also think a lot of jobs are going to look very differently, like ethics and
it just happened.
So for you guys that are following, April's battery, her charger broke this morning, so her battery was running low.
She's
And
had a rough day today.
literally, like, she's been messaging us behind the scenes, like, and just like a battery countdown. So
That's hilarious. Poor thing.
so I'll see if she can jump back in, but for the moment, we'll put her over here, and we're gonna move over to Trent. And real quick, my thoughts on AI: will they replace the recruiter? Absolutely. But when that happens, it's probably replaced every single other job out there, and we have a whole nother type of issue. All right, sorry, Trent, your turn.
I am so glad you said that, because I was like, okay, I'm going to be the jerk on the call that says absolutely. But with a caveat, I think it's going to replace the recruiters that suck. And by suck, I mean the ones that just like moving a piece of paper from here to here. They're not in it for the human value. They're not in it to be able to have an impact on someone's life through their career that could, I guess, reframing it. Sometimes I have to remind myself, if I give someone the right job at the right time at the right level of pay, I could be having a generational impact. Generational, because I'm taking them out of the poverty cycle, or I'm taking them into a different lifestyle that they'll be able to spend more time with their kids or whatever. I think we forget that because we're so transactional, because we have to be, because of how the recruiting process has been built. Now AI is going to take it to where we can actually stop and go, this is a human I'm talking to on the phone. So I think the recruiters that hide behind being busy and not productive, I think those are the ones that have got a clear target on their back for being replaced by AI, and rightfully so. And I said what I said. So you can hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm not going to apologize for it.
I know we got a few minutes left. We're going to be cognizant of everybody's time, so we will be done at the top of the hour. But before we kind of try to answer a few questions, is there anything else that you two would like to say about AI and recruiting before we go to a little bit of Q&A?
I guess just super quick, give it a shot, just give it a try. I'm telling you, I am not technical. Right? But if you just sit down with a pen and paper and you just draw out some of those some of those challenges that you face on an everyday, scenario, you'd be shocked what you can find, right? And I really urge everyone to lean into artificial intelligence. It's not going anywhere, I promise you that. So similarly to the points of the other gentlemen on this call, you got to keep up with the times, right? Because if you're not, you're going to get left behind, and that's really where we're going to get into some trouble. So I urge everyone on this call just spend a little bit of time, playing around. Go ahead and get lost, get curious, and you'd be shocked what you can find.
I would say try everything. Whenever, because I do a lot of writing on my blog, so I get a lot of vendors that reach out to me. I saw David with MetaView on there. I got to meet him whenever I was in Seattle at ERE conference. But one of the first things that I ask in that demo call is, what problem are you trying to solve? And if the vendor can't answer that in a very nice and succinct way, they're not your vendor. All right. Perfect example. Hyper context is not necessarily recruiting; it's more on the development side. But I asked the CEO whenever he and I were doing the demo, what problem are you trying to solve? And he said, 101s are broken and so are reviews. I said, got my attention, because I was literally in the middle of dealing with performance coaching and all of that. So, for me, that's kind of the big thing is sometimes you don't know what you need. I think it was Henry Ford that said, if I asked my clients what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. So I kind of go into AI products like that going, I don't know what I need, but I'm hoping that maybe you can sell me something or show me something that I didn't even realize that I needed. Like the Read AI assistant thing. Like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Never thought about a case study of using it to be able to coach my hiring managers on how to be more effective interviewers. It just kind of came up. So just go into it with an open mind. It's an exciting time. But I think that we are right on that cusp of having to determine what's noise from value. We're right there.
Mm-hmm.
And real quick, going to jump into a few questions. Here's a quick question. Any tips from the candidate's point of view? There's actually like 2 AI tools that I really recommend when it comes to like being a candidate. One is Earn Better, and the other one is Teal HQ. Those are both great sites that utilize AI that really help with the job search. So if you're out there, if you're even a recruiter looking for a job, Like those, like one, it's like Teal is a great job site tracker, and they both use AI to help write the resume and actually pull some information out, because there's a lot of recruiters that have some really bad resumes. We look at resumes all day, but how do you have bad resumes? So use AI to help with that.
The irony, the irony of that.
And then we got another question from Susie. There's a lot of similarities between a lot of these tools. Which one? Like, I know Trent, you guys use Hire Easy. Why?
It is slick. It is user friendly. The support, the client support is probably, in my opinion, they're one of my favorite vendors to work with. Because I've used them for a little while, and I do a lot of talking about them. So I can actually call and go, "Can it be really cool if you guys did this?" And like 6 months later or 3 months later, they're like, "Hey, you want to try a beta?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, man!" Some of these other vendors, it's like, here's what you need. They're not listening to the client, based off of that. So that and the analytics, the ease of use. I was a salesperson before I converted to the dark side in 2004, so I was used to using a CRM. So having a CRM that can engage and gives me stats, and I'm a data guy, so the more data I have enables me as a leader to make sure that my team is spending time where they're going to get the most value. The other two may be great, and I think the caveat that I would say is Seek Out may be better for you based off of the problems that you're trying to solve. The problems that I'm trying to solve, I need Hire Easy.
Yeah, and shipping off of Trent's previous point, just try them all, right? Try
Yeah.
them all. Like just because it works for me or for Trent or for Ben or for April, who's probably running around trying to figure out how to charge her laptop, it really ultimately comes up to your use case. And some people like one interface better than the other, and some people are going to have better success than the other. So give it a shot. Just get curious.
Yeah, that's a great point, because there was I forgot what, I'm not going to call out the product, but it was something similar to what I was using, and they're like, "We'll give you a free trial." It's like, okay, cool. I got in there, I was like, what is this? Because the user interface was just not what I was used to, but it was perfect for someone that didn't want the product that I had over here. They needed to start over here. And so I referred them over, and it was perfect. They love it. They cannot imagine their life without it. So again, try it, find out the problem that you're trying to solve, and then evaluate based off of it. And I always push, can I get a trial? Can I play with it for a week? Because a lot of times they'll have a sandbox, and if they say no, then that's fine. At least you asked. But get in there and play around. It's so much fun.
And the other cool thing that's happening too is, these other SaaS products that we use every day, like Canva is a great example, right? Like implementing AI. These tools that we're comfortable with using on a basis that may not have quote unquote AI today, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to incorporate that pretty quickly. For an example, we use for internal documentation, Notion, right? Notion, phenomenal product, right? And they started incorporating artificial intelligence, and the products just skyrocketed from there. So this is a trend that you're going to continuously see.
Yeah, it's funny. I was on something earlier, and someone was saying a very large HRIS. I'm not going to name the name, but it starts with a W and ends with a Y. They're like, they're going to lead the way in AI. And I'm going, that is such a conflict from the technology that I'm used to working. So I do think, though, that this is a perfect time for some of the smaller companies that are just going to outmaneuver the large HRIS companies that everybody knows, the Workdays, all the rest of them, right? They're going to be able to outmaneuver them because of AI. They don't need 50 developers to go and make a change. They're going to be able to have a lot of that code built, and then the developer is just going to go in and enhance it. So I'm really excited to see how HR tech is going to be impacted, and some of the products that it'd be great, Ben, if we could do a year from now and just kind of do a year back and say, here's what we were talking about then, and look at what we're talking about now. I think it'd be kind of a fun conversation to do a retro.
Somebody in the comments, is the HRIS Webby? No, it's something else, and we won't name it. We
It's
do
a
not
lot of
name that
work.
name.
It's a lot of work.
Well, before I let you guys go, is there anything else that you would love to share with the people that are tuned in watching this?
Yeah, I think this was an awesome conversation. Hopefully we can do this again. I think that This was a blast for myself. I'm sure Trent, Ben, and April to be a part of. And, you know, to reiterate again, AI is not going anywhere. The biggest recommendation that I can give to anybody watching this video today, it's just get curious. It's just go see what's out there, and you'd be honestly shocked. And especially when you start to deal with, you know, smaller types of companies who are trying to compete. I think, you know, Trent, what you were just talking about, you know, it really levels the playing field. So, you know, I know personally speaking, you know, that's something that's always at top of mind for myself, and, you know, for inspiring entrepreneurs or for people who may just have been laid off, right? You know, the recruiting space itself has gone through a little bit of a wave and a little bit of a turbulent time. So if you're looking to start your own agency, honestly, it's easier than ever. So just get curious, have fun, and you'll be shocked what you can find.
I'm not following that. Ask me a different question, Ben.
Well, what thought do you want to share with the people listening and watching before we let everybody go?
Well, I'll pick on you for a little bit, Ben. I know that Ben stays on the forefront of this, and so, like, you know, I started noticing a change in some of the videos. So what did I do? I pinged him. Was like, "What are you using? I know you're using something. Like, you know, leverage some of the people out there. Maybe you're not an early adopter. Find a couple who are, because we're going to test 5 or 6 products and go, hey, this is the best one. This is a good runner-up. Depending on your cost, 3 might be good for you. So definitely, you know, kind of have 5 or 6 people that you know, you trust, and you've got some kind of a relationship, even if it's just a LinkedIn. I mean, Alex is now going to be on that list of going, hey, what are you using to do this? I think that's going to be the way that we're going to be able to continue to grow and stay relevant. And by the way, I do love the product that you sent me. Thank you, Ben. It is mind-blowing what it comes up with.
So, but yeah, hey, for the guys watching, like I said, you know, make sure to give Trent a follow, make sure to give Alex a follow, make sure to give April a follow. I see her in the comments. She's back on in the comment section. But yeah, everything's moving, everything's changing. There's so many awesome tools out there. And like Trent said, we're actively checking everything out, but you know, this is going to be fun, and we're going to definitely do this again. So see you later, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good weekend.